What's going on, guys? It's Mike from Delmarva Backyard. And the project today is we're going to clean a dual tap home kegerator. I don't know how many of you guys out there have kegerators, but for those of you that do, this video is for you. And for those of you that may be considering getting a kegerator, this video may also be for you. It's not hard, it's pretty simple stuff. I'm gonna show you how to get it done. Stay tuned. Okay, so I've had my kegerator for about a year now, and I use it all the time. I like beer, and it allows me to have on-demand draft beer whenever I want it, and it requires very little maintenance. It also allows me to keep my beer very cold, my draft beer very cold, which is where I like it. I know, a lot of craft beer, you're supposed to serve a little warmer so you can get the flavors to come through, but I like my beer cold, and my kegerator allows me to keep it, really cold. You need to keep it clean, and what I do is after every other keg, I do a deep cleaning, and that's what I'm gonna do for you today. Let's get started. A little bit about what you're gonna need. You're gonna need a bucket. You're gonna need some sanitizer. Today, I'm using this IO-Star, and the reason I'm using that is because it doesn't foam. So you want a non-foaming sanitizer. And I'm also going to use this this BLC beverage system cleaner, and it doesn't take much of these. These bottles will last you forever. I also use this IO-Star for brewing, so it comes out multi-purpose. And what it is just a little vacuum pump. Okay. Bought this, I think, at Lowe's. And then we put a plastic tube on it, and then what I did is I adapted it to fit my kegerator. I bought those brass fittings and adapted it so it would fit perfect. Kegerator, dual tap, edge star, and it's been a great setup for me. You can see inside there. Keep the two. You can see the 2/6 kegs, or called sixtels, and it'll fit 2 of those, or quarter keg, half keg, whatever. But I like to have, I like to use the 2 kegs so I can change it up. And this is where it starts. We need to untap the kegs. First step is to untap these lines. And what you have is your supply line, and then you have your CO2 line, which is the red line. And you push down and pull out, and it releases, okay? Then you spin it counterclockwise, and you're untapped. Our 2 taps in the bucket for now, and leave them right there. We're gonna take our handles off first. And I clean everything when I do a deep clean. So I'm wiping everything down, cleaning everything. I want everything to be spotless. And then we're gonna take these pieces off. This little fitting right here on top. Pay attention to how you take everything out. Okay? So this just came out of here. It's very important to pay attention to how everything comes out, because you want to put it all back in the same way. If you need to, take a picture of it. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. If you need a wrench, you're going to want to be careful not to damage anything. And then we're going to unscrew our tap. This one's loose. Okay. See how that sprung out of there? So you have this spring, and then you have the tap. And you're going to get a little bit of beer spilling. So you may want to put a rag or something underneath. You see how that comes out? And that's what we're left with. Okay, so for the BLC, it says add a ½ ounce of BLC for each quart of water. So that's what we want to do. So we have 5 quarts of water. There's 1. That's 2 ounces, so that'll cover 4 quarts. And we're just gonna add a splash more. Now on the IOStar, I've already got some of that pre-mixed, so I'm just gonna put some of that in here. And I'm gonna put, I don't know, about 1/4 of that in here. I'm gonna eyeball it. Okay, so no real reason to mix it because I'll show you why. It's gonna kind of mix itself. We're gonna screw our pump into the lead up here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna use our pump, we're gonna put it in a bucket, we're gonna suction it, what's in the bucket, up, through the tower, down through the lines, and what's gonna happen is it's gonna come out through the taps. So we're gonna be cycling this cleaner through. I'll show you. Before we start the pumping action, what we wanna do is, there's a little valve on the CO2. We're gonna turn that valve off. We don't want any more CO2 coming through the lines. Okay, we're gonna take the feeder hooves off. Little plastic washer that comes off. I'm gonna stick those down into the tube. And you'll hear the bubbles. And now we're cycling water through there. We're just circulating that water in there. We're getting turbulence to help break apart any crud, any beer crystals. The IsoStar is a 60-second sanitizer, so as long as it's got 60 seconds, it's going to kill any germs. And you know, this is going to clean everything up real nicely. Now I'm going to sit right there and let it sit for a few minutes, guys. Just get that contact time. Make sure the vacuum pump stays in the chemical, and then you'll get a you know, constant contact, and it's going to clean those tubes up. All right, guys. So it's been going for about 5 minutes or so, and what we want to do now is we want to go ahead and I'm going to just run a couple more pumps through it, and that's just to make sure we got it nice and clean. Get any solids that were in there cycled through, get them out, and then we're going to go ahead and do the other one. So we'll pull the vacuum up, out of the water, and then we're going to pull air through the system to drain that line. So I've got it out of the water and pumping, and that's just going to get all the water out. So we're going to get bubbles now through the line. This is a food grade product though, both of them. So if there is a little bit left, it's not going to hurt. We're going to unscrew up here. You may have a little bit of liquid that comes out, so if your kegerator is in an area where you're concerned, be wary of that. And we're just going to put it on the other one. There we go. She's catching. All right, so I'm gonna do this line, let it sit, and I'll catch back with you. We cleaned the other line. We got all the cleaning detergent out of it. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna dump most of the liquid out of the bucket, and then we're gonna come back and lower the bucket down and drain the lines of any residual. Now everything is clean and sanitized now, so you wanna make sure that you keep it that way. Don't let them touch something that's dirty. Okay, so now I'm gonna take the lines and just kind of hold them up and make sure we get everything to kind of drain out. Okay, so now we want to reconnect our CO2 lines to our feed lines, And if you remember, there was a little washer. Got to make sure you get all the parts back where they're supposed to go. There's a little washer that seats right there. So we're going to put that in. Screw that back down tight. Just hand tight. Okay, it's wider on one side and narrower on the other side. I'm not sure if that comes through on the camera or not, but this is our wider side and this is our narrower side, okay? So the wider side goes in the tower first. One part we didn't go over is the valve. Okay, the valve is what you want to put this inside before you reassemble it. All right, and you want to kind of keep the hole facing the top of the spout, just like so. And you press it onto the spring, hold it with one hand, and hand tighten. And then repeat on the other side. Make sure you put your valve in. Valve in, hole on top, and then put that one on. All right, so now we're gonna put this part here on, and we still have our washers in place. That's how I do it. And what you do is you slide that in, and it lines right up with the hole. You take your cap, put it down, and repeat on the other side. The handle piece back on. Put the other one back on. And then just give them a test. Make sure they pull. What we're going to do now is we're going to tighten everything up a little bit with the wrench, just one revolution or so, because everything's slippery by hand. And I'm going to wipe everything down with just a mild detergent, and that's it. I'm going to wipe the inside of the kegerator down. I'm going to wipe the outside of the kegerator down. I'm going to wipe the tower down. And that's it. You're ready to tap 2 new beers. So thanks for joining me on this video. I know this, not everybody has a kegerator out there, but now that you see how easy it is to clean and that you only have to do it, every couple of months really for us, it takes us, about a couple of months or so to go through 2 sixtels, and it's pretty simple stuff. It took me, and that's while shooting a video, it took me an hour. And a lot of that has, I'm shooting a video, so I'm moving the camera around, moving the lighting around, and trying to make sure I'm getting some decent shots for you. So I mean, you could do it in a half hour. So don't let the cleaning of the kegerator scare you away from purchasing one. It produces great beer. Thanks for joining me. Leave your comments and suggestions in the field below. Greatly appreciate that. Appreciate your support, and we'll see you next time.